Hello, hello, ahoy, hoy, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to finally another episode of Off the Mark. I am your host, Miss Tudio, and with me, as always, is my beautiful and amazing, our beautiful and amazing, and everybody's favorite co-host, Miss Meeks Kali. I know, right?
Love you, Miss Tootie. I missed you.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I've missed you so much.
It's been a minute.
It's been several minutes actually, and yes, and you look amazing.
We'll
you look
like
gorgeous. Yeah. 472,000. So we have an action episode for you guys today. We're going to bring up the shooting that never was. We're going to bring up the shooting that was. We're going to bring up some Ghislaine Maxwell news and some Hollywood news a little bit later on in the show, which is going to be quite fun. And we're going to bring you some Newsom and vaccine / COVID or COOF updates, whatever the hell you want to call it. I don't know what you want to call it these days. Maybe a little bit of Fauci news, because we're going to just throw some, it's just going to be a soup of news. But yeah, without further ado, there's like the main thing that kind of bothered me this week was the George
really
Floyd.
Grinds my gears.
Thanks, Tom. You know what really grinds my gears?
Right. The thing that really grinds my gears today and this week was the George Floyd anniversary, which was the 25th of May, right? May 25th.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was tons of news reports happening, this being the anniversary. And then we had several embassies around the globe flying BLM flags, which is very nice. I'm sure, George Floyd got his respect. Nancy Pelosi, thank you, Nancy Pelosi, for thanking him for his sacrifice. And, I think he got the point. Speaking of points, there was also a shooting on his anniversary right in front of Cup Foods, a drive-by shooting, actually, that no one seemed to have reported on. It's been nothing but crickets on that shooting.
Even though the initial shooting happened on live air, they didn't revisit it after that. Again,
do you have any theories as to why they didn't maybe mention it at all?
It's curious. It's just another example of how selective the news is and the narrative, and like, look, a bear, like, the camera is very directed at this is what you're supposed to pay attention to and care about right now. And, if you happen upon other news stories, because, other stuff happens in the world than what the TV reports, turns out. But yeah, it's incredible that you would think that would be a story, that there was a shooting at the memorial site in Minneapolis, and that they even recorded it live on air while they were reporting there, and that it didn't get any like coverage in the days to follow, that, there was the other shooting in California that took precedence.
Right. On the flip side of that, so we had that shooting, which again wasn't reported on. So if this is the first you're hearing of it, we will show you a link and show you exactly what happened soon. But the next day, which is the shooting that I'm sure all of us have heard about, was a shooting that happened here in San Jose, California, at a railroad yard. A gentleman decided to get up one morning and go on a shooting spree at this railroad yard, killing 9 people and injuring, I think 17 are injured, 17 casualties in total, and then I think 9 killed. So prayers and our hearts go out to those families. That being said, we have the name of this fella, which I won't say here, but we have his name, we have his face, we know what he looks like. All of that is ready to go. Now, without having, you get 2 guesses what he looks like. I mean, think about it. For us to have all that information, we have to understand, all right, well, he probably looks like this or this and that. Again, I probably don't have to say it out loud. If you guys are watching and you want to put it out in the comments what I'm talking about, because collectively we see a pattern. And aside from pointing that pattern out, maybe it's time for all of us to just say it out loud together, or think it internally together, as opposed to saying it out loud.
It can't be an elephant in the room forever. Right. Eventually,
exactly.
A problem has to be addressed.
It's already done. It's already well known. I mean, especially if you've seen him and his face on the news, which it's been plastered. You know, I don't even watch the news. All I had to do was look up the San Jose shooting, and it took them less than 48 hours to have they have him on camera in front of his house, getting into his car. It's like, this is insane.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Less than 48 hours later. However, not one word of this shooting, this drive-by shooting that happened in front of Cup Foods. Now, granted, no police were called, as far as I know, or got involved, because that entire area, that George Floyd Square, as they call it, I believe is what they call it, is an autonomous zone. So
yeah, they were like reporting on like the slowness in their efforts to defund the police and their like police reform. They were like reporting on that at the time that the
as a crime was
initiated. You know what? We are getting the police less involved here quick enough.
Right. Exactly. and it's so funny because not just that, but on top of this very violent thing, 32 gunshots, 31 or 32 shots, boom, 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 and not consecutively, but in total, which lasted it must have been a minute and a half. I think in total.
And it must have been multiple shooters too, because the rapid fireness of it, like they were almost overlapping at some points. Like that wasn't just a lone gunman, like it was a shootout of sorts.
That's a good point, because at a certain point when they started to sound that way, I was like, oh no, it's just fireworks.
Yeah, because they described it as fireworks a lot because it sounded like a cluster.
Yeah, there was no way in hell I was going to believe somebody was shooting on, because I watched it. Like, no, that didn't happen. Like, no. And I'm thinking, no. They're over-reporting it. They're exaggerating. It's fireworks. And I'm like, wait a minute. I had to watch it several times to understand that it was what it was. Yeah. Because I hear both in my neighborhood all the time, gunshots and fireworks. We have to play that game all the time.
Especially now around this time where like even as of May 25th, they're approaching Memorial Day, where like it starts to be fireworks season as people get, anxious. I can't wait.
Right.
America now.
Right. Exactly. I agree.
In broad daylight. Like, I can't wait for the
right. What the hell?
My fireworks.
Like, don't you want to see the sparkly? Like, I want to see the sparkly.
That's not the point. Explosion. America.
But I agree with that also.
Yes.
I also agree with America Boo. So I'm okay. I like it. I'm okay with it. I love 4th of July.
I get it, but
I love 4th of July. I just don't like it on May 25th.
Right. Fair enough. Teach their own.
Right. So this was caught live. So the George Floyd, I'm sorry, I keep saying George Floyd, but I'm sorry, I'm so tired of that name. I don't mean to offend. I really don't. But I'm so tired of saying I don't mean to offend. But I'm so tired of that name. But this thing that happened on the anniversary of the George Floyd event, which again was a tragedy in itself, was caught, as Miss Kali said, live on air, which again should have alone been its own breaking news story, that any shooting was caught live on air.
Right.
Let alone a shooting that happened.
Channels, yeah.
Right. It was ABC News. You said,
News,
right?
Yeah.
So it's CNN never mentioned it. I mean, it's been hush hush. It's been crickets. And again, I do understand that the shooting that happened the next day overtook it. But how convenient that we had this unfortunate event happen the day before, and then we had this giant event happen the very next day. Less than 24 hours later, we had this giant tragic shooting. So I don't want to Alex Jones it and say false flag, but at the same time, you got to look at it for what it is and see the patterns for what they are. Again, if people did pass away, and it's a small if, because no disrespect, because if this had happened to my family, I wouldn't want somebody saying that didn't really happen. I understand all of it, but again, patterns, false flags do exist. Political theater does exist. That drive-by shooting does exist. It just wasn't reported. So now we have this other one to say, look, a bear, just like she said earlier. We have bears everywhere. I hope you throw that gift.
I know I'm gonna.
I knew we were like leaking it. Okay,
I'll do it.
No. Yeah, so you want to?
Well, you don't have to worry about the bill. We've never welched on a look, a bear. Run! Go!
You want to show the video of the?
Yes, and real quick, I haven't like I'm as removed from like news and whatever like current affairs as can be at the moment. So, and I still heard about San Jose, you know, like it was unavoidable. Like it was just like so talked about, but still I don't know the details of it. So what was the circumstance and his motive really?
Excuse me. Sorry, that was all up in the microphone, wasn't it? As far as motive goes, I don't know. I haven't got caught up to speed. The last time I saw it was yesterday. So if they have a motive, they didn't have one as far as I saw. If they have a motive now, I have no clue. I don't even know if he was an ex employee, or a current employee, but I think he was a current employee of the organization. And they're having some team meeting earlier that morning, and that's the event he showed up to, where he ended up killing 9 people.
His coworkers?
So I believe so, yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. I was curious because just like the context of what the story is. So this like narrative of San Jose very clearly outlines that there was a person who was in some ways unstable, that they would conceive even to do that, and then even follow through to actually physically like take it out. So what is the solution? Gun control. So the crazies, which apparently there's lots of, you know, like never mind right to bear arms, like we have to limit, like obviously that doesn't mean everybody at all times, you know, is what this is implying, this instance. But the George Floyd one, perhaps they didn't have the same like packaging for that of what that meant of things, like because
no,
of the,
absolutely not.
The context of, you know, what the solution would be is maybe don't have that be an autonomous zone would be the solution, not necessarily gun control, you know, is for how that story plays itself. So let's share screen. Okay, can you see it? My RUB2Bs?
I can.
Okay, so there's a couple of videos where it's just like the straight gunshots. So maybe I'll play that first. So you hear an initial 2 shots, and then a third one, and then it begins starting in clusters. So that's multiple guns right there, right?
Oh, you can hear glass shattering and everything.
I wonder about this van because it like backs up and then it like ends up coming still this way. And it seems like they're directing that's over in that corner that the shots are coming from. But yeah, okay, so now we'll play you how it was covered on ABC News.
So it eventually made the news, it looks like.
I'm sorry?
It eventually made the news, it looks like. That was NBC News. So eventually it made a mainstream source.
Well, this is ABC News, but it happened live on air, as in he was reporting there already just at the memorial, and they happened to have the shots fire on it. So it's not like they
No. I saw that. I saw that also. What I'm saying is it wasn't being reported at all, but now It looks like it's been reported. That was NBC. That was an NBC clip. So they've mentioned it. I still haven't seen CNN mention it, but I wonder how they've mentioned it.
Right.
Like,
well, that was just a plain.
What happened by accident? Yeah.
Right. Yeah, we could look back at should we check the channel?
No, that's okay.
I wonder if they have like a piece on it.
And if they do, it's probably very, very short, like something that they just, and you know, another news.
Friends reunion is all we like care about right now.
Wow.
How Black families are still feeling of the impacts of, what the rest of that, of the Tulsa massacre. Oh, interesting. Yeah, look, you're not seeing that shooting overall from scrolling, even from these couple days.
Wow, yeah.
like San Jose is more San Jose, San Jose, San Jose, right? Like that's definitely what the focal point was.
You know, you can argue the severity of San Jose being the reason for having, you know, being the focal point. One person was injured, but not, as far as I know, not critically, in the drive-by shooting in Missouri. Or where are they? Is it Missouri? Minnesota? Minneapolis? Mm-hmm. Okay. I believe
okay, so let's go to, but yeah, so they had like a George Floyd section, but it wasn't very apparent, the shots, like specifically. Okay.
Right. Okay.
So let's show this ABC News one.
Protests around the world and jump-started a national conversation on police reform and race in America.
So I mean, they're getting ready for today's activities. You see the cars filing in behind me. There are people.
And then we'll start it here.
To observe 9 minutes and 29 seconds of silence, representing the 9 minutes and 29 seconds that Derek Chauvin knelt on George Floyd's neck. But hold on. Go.
So they go to like stock footage as he's ducking.
Behind the engine block. Behind the engine block.
All right, we're going to check in with Alex in a bit. It sounds like there may be some trouble there in Minneapolis. We're going to check in with them. Obviously, we hope that they are safe. And I want to go back to Alex Perche now at George Floyd Plaza. Alex, we were talking to you just a few minutes ago. You had to cut away. You had us all worried there. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and more importantly, that you guys are okay?
Well, Diane, we are okay. The team got to safety, but I mean, you heard during you know, that second question or third question that you were asking me, what sounded like initially it may be a cluster of fireworks, but you know, you hear more and more of those pops, and you recognize it resembled gunfire. And so our security team evacuated us. We ducked behind a row of cars here in this church parking lot, and I can tell you that one of our security guards here mentioned that he'd seen gunfire maybe about a half block from our live location. But again, you know, we mentioned how that this was the most akin to a return to life here that we saw last June when.
Wow, is he serious?
Not an autonomous zone, but I will say that in talking with whether it be leaders at the church or leaders at some of the small businesses here, they have mentioned that look. After the police and fire have been moved out of here, and after this became an autonomous zone, they've been dealing with issues like this. And when one of the challenges is when something happens, well, how do you get first responders in? How do you get medical aid in? And certainly, you know, today, the anniversary, the 1 year after George Floyd's murder, with there being so much emphasis and concentration from the outside on George Floyd Square, people coming here wanting to take part and be a part of this energy, that's definitely something that's going to be of concern going forward. I told you, you know, they're setting up for a concert here in this church parking lot, which is maybe a block and a half away from where we believe this gunfire erupted. So this is going to be something that's going to be of concern as the day progresses.
All right, something to keep an eye on. Alex, you and your team stay safe, please. Glad you.
Yeah. So. You know, but this is something they've been dealing with since we became an autonomous zone. This is it.
I mean, it's just, you know,
leave the land, you know?
You know what I mean? So, you know, I mean, is this guy for real? Is he serious right now? You see, here's my issue with, and I know, and it's starting to come around because of the corruption of the Black Lives Matter movement. Most people are tired of the Black Lives Matter movement itself. When Black Lives Matter, when it starts being more evident that Black lives don't really matter to other Black lives, how is that going to make anybody else feel who's fighting for this movement and anybody else who genuinely believes they're helping? And it's so annoying because there's a lot of people who genuinely believe they're helping and they're very obnoxious about it because those are the ones calling me a racist. And it's like, shut up. You're not even Black. Sit down. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's they're the ones quacking in everybody's ear, and it's just not fair. Do I know that that person shooting was black? No, there's a good chance though. There's a very, very good chance. If he wasn't, his name would be out in the public right now. Can you imagine? Why would it not be? That'd be the perfect scenario for them. White man goes and shoots at the George Floyd. Jesus, that of course. I mean, come on, you guys.
But imagine a melanated person as a shooter and that image being plastered next to shooting at the George Floyd Memorial. Like,
can't happen.
Yeah. What's that going to look like?
Can't happen. Exactly. There's been polls that are happening, or I'm sorry, studies or whatever you want to call them. I don't know what they're called, but Portland, crime is up 800% in Portland. 800%. I don't even understand how that's a possibility.
That's astronomical.
I mean, is that? I mean, really? Is that even like? I mean, what is it like? Is it? I feel like you walk outside, everybody's like how can it be 800%?
What's going on outside? Oh, it's just a mob war. Go back to sleep, honey.
Forgiveness, please.
I can't even imagine it, but crime is up everywhere. It's up 22% here in LA, which I thought it would be a lot more than that. 15% in Seattle.
I'm a little bit proud of us. Only
right?
22.
Me too.
Good for us. Restraint.
Yeah. 55% in Chicago, like I don't know, 80%, maybe 42%. I don't know what it is, but I'm maybe exaggerating. But it's up in Detroit as well. So there's places that it's up in. I can't imagine what it's like in Minneapolis, given that they have their own autonomous zone, given that they're bold enough to do live shootings on television. Well, cameras are everywhere. Like, dude, I'm half a block away. Fuck it. Let's just do what I gotta do. I gotta do what I gotta do here. And luckily in that shooting, nobody was killed as far as I know. As far as they've reported,
I know, right? As far as
they're keeping
reported.
it mum. So let's hope nobody was killed, but we do know that somebody was injured, apparently not critically. Again, but what a twist! I mean, in contrast to San
Jose getting all that coverage,
right?
By comparison, and the significance of that, of what that means for like, we need to pay attention to not just like incidents by incidents, but like where we're going as a collective of our, American ideals and stuff, and what our values are and what our mission is and all that kind of stuff. And we're not allowing it to be flavored or influenced by these particular moments or events or incidences. And was that even potentially a false flag, the George Floyd one? Who knows? Because it's very interesting. The timing even of when the shots fired was right after he had reiterated the 9 minutes, 29 seconds duration twice. But however, you may all remember a year ago, it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds. We remember that because there was documentaries. Dave Chappelle did his 8 minutes and 46 seconds like segment. People probably have tattoos and whatever. Like there's memorials and art like dedicated to that like number 846. So why were we ingrained with the numerology of 846 for so long, and then for that to switch into this new dynamic of the 929? Where did that come from? And why is there no, like, when they mention 929, they never say, as we once believed to be 846, but it turns out once we reviewed the field, and like they never, explain why it's this new number, And I haven't actually watched the George Floyd footage to watch it from like start to finish of how to and counted the seconds of how long Derek Chauvin actually did kneel on his neck. That I'm uncertain of.
I have too, but I'm over it. So,
right.
But that is interesting. Have we looked up like the numerology of these two sets of numbers?
Yes,
like that'd be kind of interesting. Have we now, girl?
Yes, girl. Okay, so we are not necessarily gematria masters, necessarily.
I am not for certain.
Don't get twisted. Okay. Okay.
Oh, I love your hair.
Hair screen. There you go. Nail hair.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. So if you look up 846, right, here are some of the words affiliated. Living God, Chrissy Teigen, interestingly enough.
Oh, she comes up a lot.
She's been prominent this year, right?
Wow.
The Holy Ghost, interesting. Infinity Gematria. So it's just an interesting collection of words, but essentially like the theme of it is, God loves math, the Lord of light, encounter God. It's like a meeting of God. It's like the God essence. And then there are some play on words of COVID. So like coronavirus, but with a like Corona.
I saw that. Yeah.
And then they have like the Corvid instead of COVID. So it's
yeah,
interesting
I saw
like
that too.
Why people are searching those. But okay, but then when you look up 929, so Mighty Mouse, Heaven Hell debate, United States of America, Eye of the Storm. Like Mighty these Mouse. Are more like, it seems Disney? Like oh sorry, go ahead.
Mighty Mouse Disney?
Maybe. But do you remember the cartoon Mighty Mouse? I forget if it was part of like Bullwinkle and Rocky and Bullwinkle, or if it was like a separate kind of thing.
No,
like,
it was its own cartoon, but here he comes to save the day. Yeah.
Yeah. Here he comes to save the day. Yeah. But yeah, Obama family be robots, just saying. But
wow.
But Behemoth, Baal. So it's more like that the evil entity, statue of Astarte, so it's kind of like a transitioning, like a confrontation, like the debate. So it's an interesting energy compared to like living God, like the, like the beautiful, the essence of divinity versus like Eye of the Storm. It's very like in the midst of a chaos and challenge that we've transitioned into.
I have a question for you. Kind of a deep one, but not that deep. Okay. So we had that eclipsed blood moon the other day.
Oh yeah, which I believe flower blood moon.
Which I believe was also May 25th. I believe they were the same day.
2 days ago, so maybe May 26th. So
it was the 25th or the 26th. So is it possible that this moon was used in a sense to make this 929 number more prominent than this 846 number? Also, there were so many things that were on repeat that the day of that was, and then the day after. Remember, I told you Crowder kept saying, believe your lion eyes.
Oh, no, yeah. Wow.
And he kept repeating that over and over, believe your lion eyes. And I'm wondering why he kept saying it over and over the way he was. And he used it all week and every single one of his shows. Now, and I don't think it's anything ritualistic. I don't think it's anything negative. I think it's actually, I do think it's code. I do think it's something that he's sending out. I just thought it was interesting, that, the moon is used to reset. And this was definitely one of those reset moons. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of these things happening at this time. I just wonder what else has happened. The Mandela effect is real in its own way. I don't know how much of it to take in and how much of it not to, but I do wonder what has transitioned between now and then and what we're going to see in the future, as far as those things are concerned,
Right. It is fascinating for anyone. I mean, we've talked about this on past casts, but for anyone who feels like, the moon stuff is kind of like hippie-ish or whatever, new agey, the moon controls, the tides and the cycles of, women's cycles. And so each of the planetary bodies has an influence, but, the moon in particular has a very kinship with Earth. And like the Jewish calendar is a lunar-based calendar instead of a solar calendar. So a lot of the Jewish holidays and things coincide with like lunar cycles and events such as this. So it's their dates of significance to certain people and cultures that these moments happen. And ritualistically, just like a tide, like a surfer catches a wave, you can attribute a certain energy or like focus or intention on that wave of that moon cycle. And as it's, being a new moon and then waxing and waning and full and, all of that our energy is breathing and creating or releasing and letting go as we're opening and expanding or are contracting. So it seems probable that they would utilize this moment. It would be foolish not to. All of us should, like I put out my crystals, out in the moonshine and stuff like that to get them all supercharged with that flower blood moonness. So, like we can all like interact with it, but certainly some people are more skilled and like habitual about it than others. And if you are certain, like, especially intentional with it, it can be very powerful and impactful for you and your whatever your goals are. So it's interesting that they were on this day of May 25th having us, we're still wearing the masks, even though the CDC said that like we didn't really need to anymore. But now we have this June 15th date that like is the official, like, it's okay date. But as of the George Floyd time, you know, we're still supposed to wear the masks. And, you know, as we, there was a lot of memes and stuff about last year of people having the George Floyd mask on and then saying like, I can't breathe. Stop covering your nose holes, maybe.
I have some ideas on why.
A thought might be considered. So it's interesting that like they still did have the mask. And if you watch that ABC video, right at the moment of the shooting, the girl that they showed that was holding a sign, and I can't quite read it at the bottom, it says like we are, and then it looks like our not, but that's not a word, so it's hard to distinguish like what her sign said. Maybe we can even go back to that. But her face mask said we are George Floyd, so it's kind of like a phrasing of a looping in of, you know, we as a populace are all identified as this George Floyd creature that we collectively can't breathe, that we collectively are being stamped on for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, you know? So like, is that 9 minutes and, or like 9 years and 29, or I don't know, 29 weeks or, you know, like who knows, 9 months of however long this duration of COVID stuff is supposed to happen, you know?
TikTok.
Yeah. So, you know, we looked up on some of the gematria, some of the other things. Like, am I still sharing? I can't tell.
You're not.
No. Okay. Let's go back. So we looked up like Alex Pratia, who is that ABC News reporter, and some of his things are like humans meet God, Christ a human, trust, monument, earthquakes, TikTok, like time's ticking. Blue Star Kachina, which is like the Native American Christ story, basically, that there would be a return of Blue Star Kachina, and that's when we would have our new world. A laugh in the face of fear, apathy, Fibonacci numbers, magic matrix. So it's very like Christ energy, right? Of like our awakening that's coming to be. And then Alex Pratia reporting is what they had when he returned after it. It has things like Black History Month, Super Soldier Program, which is interesting with all our, push that we're having, The Walking Dead, things like that. And backward divisions, maze, earthquake. Our pineal gland is our microchip, delivering karma. So
wow, that one's insane.
Right. So it's just interesting. And, you know, we don't claim to be masters, but it's just each like
interesting is the word.
A thing has its own energy field that just like colors relate, music relates, even though it's in different octaves or there's different like compositions of it. Like the A note can exist in multiple scales or chords, you know, likewise. So it's just, but there is an interplay and overlapping that they seem to share. And when they project something, if you're like striking a chord, then it's going to make that certain impression. So they're striking that chord of Alex Pratia reporting. And so it's going to kind of echo and reverberate in this essence of that geometric field, I suppose. So that's interesting. That's very like telling of, you know, humans meeting God, of like this judgment that we're approaching. It's very like telling of Revelations. We've talked about this on past casts with like peace in the Middle East, which then, you know, is it not anymore? I don't know how, you know, the recent events affect the Abraham Accord and all of that. We've, you know, covered how the executive orders thus far has been a very like acute and intentional unraveling of all the accomplishments of the Trump administration, for better or worse, of whatever that means. But, you know, it's been very targeted. And so is the dynamic in Israel right now also a reflection and, product of that. Who knows?
Right? Oh, it's interesting that you bring that up. For some strange reason, when at the height of the Israel-Palestine thing a few weeks ago, I don't remember which politician said it. It was Ilhan Omar, Rashid Tlaib Kweli, I forgot her name, or AOC. One of the big three hens said basically BLM and us, we're one and the same, and the Palestinians we're the same. So
wow.
So maybe you I think you may have just hit the nail on the head, because they basically put the Legos together themselves when it comes to that.
Right. So, equating themselves with that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's interesting that you say that. Maybe I would say yes. I would say no, maybe. I would say yes. They're putting it out there themselves.
Right.
So again, it all goes back to patterns that we apparently don't want to see, or see, and just maybe want to deny are there, because if you mention them, you're insensitive.
Right.
So that, and again, if it's breaking news to you that this shooting actually did happen, that should tell you something. That should freak you out, that the news didn't mention something as big as that.
Right.
And then don't try to rationalize it. Oh, it's because 9 people didn't die. Don't try to rationalize that. Some people that they've had far less information on shootings. In fact, when they reported the San Jose shooting, they had no information on it, except that there was an active shooter.
Wow.
Active shooter at the time when they first reported it, like that. And this other one was,
but they're like, we're following the story though.
It's great. It's so, like I said, just follow. Again, heart goes out in both situations.
Right.
I'm hoping, and in a sense, that they're false flags, because at least we don't have to pay attention to them when they're false flags. You know what I mean? Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Exactly, that we're not being insensitive in speaking to this way. It's just that, like, people are dying, that we can be sure of. Like, there is injustice happening, that we can be sure. But how we apply it and how we choose to, like, strike up our emotions of, oh, San Jose, like, pray for San Jose, like, like those kinds of things, like this guy being mad at him, and that circumstance, that instance, like being so attached to the particulars in that way, and not being considerate of why they would cover this story and not that one, and whatever. And it's not like a contest of, well, this many people died here and only this many people died here and whatever.
Right.
Like the stories are going to be what they're going to be. The news accomplishes and serves its purpose for what it is. We just have to put it in its place of, like, this paints the picture of, like, American culture for us so far at the moment. And that's how we've enabled it to, like, be a piece or a cornerstone in our lives as a collective. But the significance that we give to it, like, we need to realize that, like, it's sponsored, like, there's corporate interest in that, like, and there's political interest, and it's not pure, our reporting. And so for us to, like, attach our emotions and our livelihoods, and then give our rights and freedoms away in accordance with that, is where we need to, like, draw our attention of, like, what am I giving to this? Like, how am I being persuaded by this event having happened? How does this change things now for me? They that's their MO, is the problem, reaction, solution. So we need to be mindful of the problems so we can control and master our reactions. So that way the solutions, we can help to co-create the solutions instead of letting them be imposed upon us from external forces.
Very well said. Excellent. Perfectly said. That was beautiful. I don't even know how to segue from that, so I'm just going to do this. Yeah. So So as far as that goes, she hit the nail on the head. There's really nothing else I can add to that. So again, hearts go out in both situations, in both shootings. Stay vigilant when it comes to situations like that, ladies and gentlemen, and eventually you'll get to understand that there's only specific reasons and specific. There's only like a 1, 2, 3 formula that they have with all of these shootings, and if you haven't seen it yet, you will. Look at the big ones, the Vegas shooting, being the last big one. Just compare. Try to compare the Vegas shooting to the one in San Jose, and see what the common denominator is amongst other ones that are immediately reported without question. Because those are the ones that they know for sure. they know for sure, hands down, are the ones that are going to be the ones that are going to give them the reaction and the narrative that they want. So let's put it that way. San Jose, breaking news, active shooter. We have no idea what's going on, but active shooter. So again, it's no coincidence that the active shooter happens to be the person that it was. They already knew the person was going to be the person that it was.
Right.
So let's just leave it at that. Okay, so in other news, and I just want to bring this up real quick before we get to our other main course at the end, but in California, quick COVID update, 50% of the country, as far as I know, as far as CDC or whoever the hell, has been vaccinated officially. So yay for you guys. Zombies. Just kidding. In fact, you should
or as Jimmy Fallon put it, half the country is vaccinated and the other half watches Facebook or looks at Facebook. So,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? Does that mean that they're like mistaken or misinformed or delusioned? Or does that mean that like they know better?
Let me tell you this. Facebook just, was it Facebook or was it YouTube? I think it was Facebook, though. Basically, Facebook on Project Veritas just got caught. They were exposed, I should say, for having private algorithms, I guess. I don't know how you would describe it, but it's basically a vaccine, like a vaccine number, like a 1 to 5, whether you're for the vaccine or oppose the vaccine.
Oh, wow.
So I guess they gauge on how you post and they judge you based on that. And I forgot what it's called, the VN vaccine number, or I forgot what it's called, but they were just exposed for that. They haven't left a comment as far as I know. They made no comment about it, but they didn't deny it either.
Right.
That's huge. So they're rating us, they're judging us, and they're using facial recognition for it. They're doing all kinds of crazy, whether it be legal or illegal things where we've clicked agree. So either way, we kind of have no dog in that fight. So at this point, it's time to maybe reconsider, consider alternative platforms, or even just squashing the social media altogether, which is going to be really hard. Social media is our only way of getting information to you guys at this moment. So it's really hard decisions on a personal level and on a more public scale. These are just, again, the whole purpose of the show is to stay vigilant, and that's just one way that we kind of would have to do it. Okay. So it's just interesting timing. It's just interesting timing that would be exposed, and that Jimmy Kimmel would mention Facebook the way he did, which probably has to be the only reason. I'm sorry, Jimmy Fallon, which might be the only reason why. Right?
Too bad.
So I don't know.
The Kimmel to Fallon. But it's
how many Jimmys are there? There's 3, right? Or is there only 2?
I lost count. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure there's plenty, but that there has been this like very crude divide of vaxxed people, of good little sheep, like good little citizens that are vaccinated, and all you bad or confused, non-vaxxed people. Like, we're gonna get you though.
What's crazy is the people that are vaccinated are still walking around in masks and hazmat suits. It's like, you guys, calm down, you guys. Like,
when is it enough? When will you be safe?
Hello.
The CDC said okay, and then you were like, no, don't take it from me. They're wrong. Don't trust the science anymore.
So I didn't tell you, but I went to one of those big brand stores the other day.
Yeah.
And with a friend of ours. And she was, I told her, I'm not going in. I don't have a mask. She's like, just go in. I'm like, all right, let's try this. So I went in, sort of like apprehensive at first, because I'm not worried about the staff telling me anything, because then I would say, well, then provide me one. I'm really more worried about customers going crazy on me. Nothing happened, but I'm figuring like my response would be, well, we have to start somewhere. I'm vaccinated. I could just say, hey, I'm vaccinated. Well, where's your card? Well, you can't ask for that. It's illegal.
Right.
So you're breaking the law. Exactly. So, we have to start somewhere.
Right.
We have to start somewhere. And nobody
not until June 15th,
though.
Because then it'll be safe.
Exactly. What the
three more weeks, you guys.
Right. 3 more weeks to stop the spread.
COVID's tiring out. Don't worry. It'll wear itself out. Oh, look, it's napping so well. Okay, June 15th. Okay, now we can go.
It's like the guy from Jeepers Creepers. He'll come back in like another 20 years. Right. I sleep now. So here
pandemic-ing.
here in California, as far as vaccine goes, Newsom created this brilliant incentive where I don't know what date it is, but June 15th, June 6th, I don't know. I don't really care. But if you're vaccinated, you are qualified for a drawing to win $50,000, and 10 people are qualified to win $1.5 million. So what? Free donuts, free lap dances, free food, free limo rides. 50 people get 50 grand. 10 people get 1.5 million. I mean, how much more can you ask for in California, baby? Right? Right?
California.
Right?
Sorry.
I can't believe this. This is where we're at.
The world we are in. Welcome to 2021, the future.
Right.
Our best and brightest at work.
We mentioned a movie called Idiocracy earlier because I think this exact scenario was in that movie Idiocracy, where they're basically paying you to come get your shots and come get you.
Where's your tattoo?
Oh my God.
Why come you don't have a tattoo?
Oh my God.
You're not unscannable, are you?
Oh my God.
You're unscannable.
Unscannable! No, you don't understand. You gotta let me talk to someone in the army. A second. They're all dead. Everybody I know is dead. Oh my God.
If you haven't seen the movie, please watch it. If it doesn't terrify you, read up a little bit more. You know what I mean? Yeah, just
a moment.
Brush up. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that ridiculously insane California news. If you're not in California and you're still watching the show, we still are on somewhat of a lockdown, but they're getting very lenient. June 15th, they lift the hat completely off of us, and we get to go and we get to run free.
For 2 months, and then
right.
we'll be, you guys did too much.
Right.
That other children, 50% that didn't vaccinate ruined it for everybody, turns out.
As far as public schools are concerned, our children still have to play with their masks on the playgrounds. My daughter will not be attending public school next year for this very reason. So if you can provide your children homeschooling and or alternative schooling, that will let your children be children and live healthy lives themselves without having to suffocate themselves, by all means do so, and start looking now before summer starts. So that's California news.
Right, because Fauci last said that we could see ourselves not having the masks anymore by next Mother's Day, right?
Right, 2022.
So assuming that the kids would go back to school in the fall with their masks and everything, even if we spend the whole summer shopping and whatever without it. I don't know. I don't understand.
I don't understand it either. Well, he's on the verge of getting fired because he's been found out to basically being in denial and hiding the origins of the
virus in Wuhan
virus. So he's under hot water.
There's pictures of him there.
Finally. And it's like, dude, that orange fella you guys didn't like, he's been saying it this whole time. He's kind of been saying it this whole time. And then you guys shut him up and now he can't say it anymore. But he's probably behind the scenes, like Nelson, hey, I told you guys, And I wouldn't blame him because we've given him a hard time the past couple of years, especially this last one. He's that's a big I told you so. And I don't blame the guy.
I forget. Did Trump get vaccinated or no?
I think so.
I think so, huh?
I don't know. I think he did. I don't know how public he went with it.
Because he calls it the Trump vaccine and everything, but I don't remember him getting a special shot in the arm the same way that Biden and all them.
I don't think he publicized it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, I don't think he did it on. Otherwise, I think we would have seen it and we would have been like, really? You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure we would have poo-pooed on all over that one.
Yeah, we'll have to look that.
I don't know. Yeah.
But yeah, it's funny how they're having people put their vaccine status voluntarily on dating sites and all those kinds of things.
States are pulling out all the stops to get more shots in arms. The White House hooking up with several dating apps.
That they're trying to weed out the maters, which is interesting because of the whole fertility issue of it. And I forget if we mentioned before how there was some conspiracy circulating that a vaccinated person who was intimate with a non-vaccinated person could make them infertile.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but if there's reports on it, I want to kind of want to see that. I know there's been,
I mean, I like
reports
of
side effects where there's been blood clots and cycles, menstrual cycles haven't been the same since receiving the vaccine, which again goes back to infertility, a potential infertility issue. So it's interesting to bring up, and it's going to be an interesting thing to see within the next 5 years what happens when it comes to people having children. And
we should insert that meme that you sent me with the Georgia Guidestones.
Oh, no kidding, huh?
Right. Half the country's vaccinated. This is an unrelated picture.
Yeah, right. It's right. I mean, eugenics, basically. So I mean, Bill Gates hasn't denied it. He's outright said it, that he's trying to decrease the population, and the way he's going to do that is through vaccines.
The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.
So again, let's see what happens within the next 5 years. It's probably going to take a good 5 years to understand, whether we're going to raise healthy children, or whether we're going to raise children with autism, or we're going to raise children with cancers or certain things. We have no idea what this unstudied vaccine is going to potentially do to any and all of us. I'm not saying it to scare or fearmonger anybody, but it's just the truth.
I mean, growing up over the last couple decades, how many times have we seen those, commercials for, if you took this other medication that was plastered all over commercials just 3 years ago, but you're experiencing this and this, like, call these lawyers, or,
you're entitled to compensation.
Right.
Big money, big money, big money.
So wait 5 years from now, and like, did you receive the SARS-CoV vaccine?
That being said, on the other side of that, there was this lady, this lady, a scientist, I believe she was. I can't remember her specific title, but she was on one of Joe Rogan's podcasts, and she actually mentioned not necessarily vaccines being directly correlated to infertility, but understands that infertility is on the rise and it's on its way to us. She did also mention that there's a cure for it, and I forgot it was a specific herb that she mentioned. Man, I'm going to look it up because I want to bring this up in another cast eventually, because it's really, really good and fascinating stuff.
Send me the link and maybe I can insert it here.
Basically, what she said is, if we could basically nourish ourselves to have this in 2 generations, we can reverse that cycle completely. So it's not like we lose hope. 2 generations, right. That's insane. That's amazing.
Like, God wanted humanity to persist. So like,
exactly.
Our fertility is designed to recover, even though there's all these poisons and like the HAARP and the chemtrails and the this and that, and the 5G and EMF and all this kind of stuff that is, toxic to us. Like, we live in a very poor environment, intentionally designed. So, but it's not like lost once and for all. We're designed to heal in several generations, but we have to take that recourse. If we're injecting ourselves twice a year with 2 doses of whatever cocktail they tell us we have to in order to participate in society, then who knows what will come of our fertility from that.
Right. It's ridiculous. So I want to get down to the meat and potatoes because my phone's about to die and I can't have my earphones and my my phone plugged in at the same time. And no, we do not switch to we don't switch to those cordless ones. What are they called, guys? I called them cordless because I'm pretty sure that's not what it's called. What are they called? The earbuds?
AirPods? But that makes
I don't know. Earbuds like the dog?
AirPods? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So
like the dog, he plays some good basketball though.
Right? Yeah.
Impressive. Okay, sorry. I'm not even mad.
So last thing I want to bring up is some Hollywood pedo news. Our favorite. So Kevin Spacey's back in Hollywood, back in the Hollywood realm of things, believe it or not. And you will never believe what his starring role is going to be.
Okay, I haven't heard this yet, guys. So
yeah,
Judy's going to reveal it to me, and I'm not ready.
Mr. Kevin Spacey is playing a detective who specializes in child rape. That's
so horrible. They're so evil.
They're evil. They're evil.
The new film is centered around a blind artist who has the divine ability to paint and draw portraits of people by merely listening to their voices. And this godlike skill propels him to fame. However, in the midst of it all, the creative is suspected of child maltreatment. Twitter fans could not help but notice the striking resemblance between the film's plot and Spacey's own life, with one user saying, "They're just messing with us now. Hashtag Kevin Spacey."
So, if you guys haven't heard, and I'm sure everybody has heard, the man who's been accused and never denied raping a child is now going to play a detective who detects people who's raped. I mean, he would know.
It's the part I was born to play.
He would know, right? You know what I mean? I've seen this before. Where? Never mind.
They say to write about your interests, what you've lived.
Kevin Spacey, something tells me he's gonna have a hunch. You know what I mean? Like he's just somehow gonna know. You know, he's gonna be a great detective at that. It's so funny.
Oh my god!
But yeah,
that's gonna be brutal. Where is that? Where is that featuring? Where is that?
No idea yet, and I'm not gonna watch it, so I don't care. Right. But yeah, I'm gonna imagine it's gonna be Netflix or somebody. But yeah, where we get to feel him out. He's gonna,
how long was he under hot water again? It was just like a year ago, right? A year or two. Like how long has he been out?
2 or 3 years ago.
Two or 3 years.
Okay. Years ago. Yeah.
But still,
it was right after the last season of House of Cards.
Oh, the House Cards. Oh, okay. Yeah. And he did that really creepy video, Christmas video, where he's like,
right. and he's basically saying, "I'll be back," basically, and he was not wrong. You know, he's back, and and it's so funny. He's not even getting his feet warm. He's just going full blown in, like, fuck you guys. I'm playing this because fuck you guys. Like he's not even playing like. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. It's just such a slap in the face to like the people.
Exactly.
It's like Inauguration Day all over again. It's like Lady Gaga, J-Lo, Tom Hanks featuring all your favorites from the cute boards.
Chrissy Teigen takes over Twitter that same day.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, Chrissy Teigen. Excellent segue. So that's another one I wanted to bring up.
Yeah. That happened.
Her cookware a couple weeks ago was canceled, and she's been in the news. She bugs, bro. She's just all over the place, all the time. But her cookware.
Why do we care about her so much?
Right? was canceled outside of several stores, Bed Bath and Beyond, blah blah blah, because of bullying that she did in the past, where she basically caused a girl to commit suicide.
No,
just basically telling her to kill herself over and over.
She told her to commit suicide, but I think she was an actress who grew up and then was like, when I was a teenager, Chrissy Teigen DM'd me this, and I didn't like it.
Ratted her out. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good for her. So she
8 years later, you know what the world needs to hear about right now is Chrissy Teigen was mean to me when I was a teenager, though. So it is inappropriate, but I wait.
I wait this long, and then I say,
"She no good." And she's like, "This was the straw that broke the camel's back." For Chrissy Teigen, we're like, post tweets about abusing her children in the basement, but
yeah, exactly.
But
it's so funny because the girl, I can't imagine. She's like, "Oh, your kid died. Well, I'm gonna say this out loud." You know what I mean? It's like, what an asshole. It's just obviously this is a distraction of some sort because Chrissy Teigen's a fucking pig. But you know, like, I mean, who does that? Like, if this really happened, who does that?
I choose this year. This happened years ago, but I choose now.
Right? I'm gonna give you
everybody be mad at her.
Year. What the fuck? Yeah. So, well, it worked. Now Chrissy Teigen's canceled, and she removed herself from Twitter and other social medias. So, you know, right? Thank you. Either Chrissy Teigen knows
Joe Biden gonna follow.
Right? Exactly. Oh, he unfollowed her a while ago, or she unfollowed him or something.
Or she posted asking him, I can't handle
Please don't
whatever.
Yeah. That's so funny.
Relieve me of this burden.
Yeah, and I think I wanted to bring up some Ghislaine stuff, but I don't really have anything except that one of the pictures that I saw recently was of her and Kevin Spacey sitting on thrones together. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Oh yeah. That's her first while ago. But yeah, Ghislaine Maxwell and Kevin Spacey were photographed on the royal throne, the British.
You can't make this stuff
like
up, you guys.
At a party, and it's like who on earth would have opportunity or chance not only to do that, but to photograph it and for it to be like shared and spread, that would however reach our contacts to be like surfaced on the web, it wasn't just in their circles, so but the new thing is that the guards of Jeffrey Epstein are finally starting to admit that maybe they fibbed a little bit about the footage, that maybe there was some foul play around.
I saw that in passing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like, you know what, you guys, that was suspicious. You caught us.
Poor guys, they're next. So, I mean, they're going to get Clinton.
Hopefully things are to the forefront, but who knows? Because we're very, I don't know, easily deceived as a public. But hopefully Ghislaine Maxwell doesn't get the same treatment.
Guilty.
Hopefully we'll see if she makes some type of deal, or if she actually ends up appearing in court in July when she has her court date scheduled. But that's a ways off from now, and many things could happen till then. And even them mentioning Jeffrey Epstein now could even be like a little bit of a predictive programming and pre-framing that something's going to happen to her already, that like, I don't know, this weird assassin going through those circles of those it's somebody, I don't know.
it's not Hillary, just so you guys know. It's not her. I don't know, man. I don't know, but I don't see it happening. I see Ghislaine, and I'm gonna just keep calling her Ghislaine because that's how it's spelled. I see her pulling through. I see her going to her trial. I don't see anything coming out of it though. I don't see anything coming out of it.
Yeah, if anything, at this point, they'll make her the fall girl of like, that was bad what you did.
they won't have any other choice. She's the only one left. I mean,
but no one else is at fault though. Never mind your clients or anything.
Exactly. They have to make an example of someone. So if they take her out, it'll be way too obvious at this point. It was already obvious with Epstein. So so we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. So that's just a little bit of an update that we wanted to give you guys. We hope you guys enjoyed it. Bear with us as we work out the kinks. As far as our schedules are concerned, thank you so much for your patience already. And just stay with us, man. Stay with us. We're still sticking by everybody there and by you guys, and just stay vigilant. There's a lot of things to that. A lot of the Gematria that Miss Kali showed us that just kind of that personally stick with me and bother me. Earthquake came up a lot. TikTok came up. And I don't know, there's just certain words that speak to me personally. And if you saw them and you have different ones that speak to you, study up on them. I encourage you to try to understand why those specific ones pop out to you. Doesn't mean you have to be right. And it doesn't mean you have to go nuts, because I'll be honest, it's slippery slope. I go nuts on it sometimes. Like, I don't want to prepare for an earthquake if I don't have to. And I don't want to think that TikTok means time. It could be the app. It could be, so there's certain, just
interpretations.
There's everybody has their own interpretation, so that, I think that's perfectly well and good. If you guys have any questions and you want to ask, reach out to me. I can reach out to Miss Kali, or you can always reach out to the channel on YouTube, and leave comments there. And we'll definitely get back to you guys, man. Like the feedback that we do get, we love every single bit of it. It warms our cockles. And yeah, we want you guys to stay encouraged and stay vigilant. Just let's do us, but let's try to do us together eventually. All this division, all this racial stuff, all these mass shootings, everything is as Miss Kali said, the George Floyd shooting itself that didn't happen, it very well could have been its own form of propaganda to cause more division. So yeah, and it's not hard to fall victim to things like that. I do it all the time, and I try my best not to get involved in those types of things where it just seems like a snake eating its own tail. And it just seems like that's where we're at. And we can be on the outside looking in, and we can, like I said, we can do it together. It's just going to take some work. So Miss Kali, do you have anything to add, my dear?
No, that was beautiful. And yeah, just that we're wanting to stay vigilant with you all. We're going to be evolving this channel as we discover what's most authentic for us and a way of communicating with you guys. So, you know, like Off the Mark isn't just YouTube, you know, it's where we are. And we're wanting to still develop more on the Patreon and explore more of this like spiritual journey that we're all on in the midst of all of this, and how to follow our intuition and why certain words might, you know, resonate with you certainly, or like stand out to you, and how once you research that term, that can bring you through a whole new rabbit hole, and just, yeah, continue on this exploration together. Because then when we connect our points, we like are able to paint the whole picture of things. So just to like encourage everyone on their own exploration and journey, and just that you're, even though it may seem very isolated in your own experience, that we're in this together, and that we love you and support you, and we appreciate you joining and connecting with us here.
Yep, we see you guys. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. If this comes out before Memorial Day, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Shout out to all our vets who lost their lives. Shout out to all the vets still living, including the father of my children. Thank you, sir. Even though it's not Veterans Day, I suppose it still counts, right? Yeah, so yeah, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I've been your host, Miss Studio, Miss Mix Khali. Thank you for everything you do. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Love you guys. Bye.